Welcome to this video in which we're going to look at how you set up your coursework in HTML. What we're going to do is make all your coursework for whichever units you're going to be using to be online, real, live website, and we're going to make sure that that website can be seen by anybody, including potential employers and of course universities. So of course it's in your best interest to make sure that the whole thing looks as nice as possible and to make sure that there are no spelling mistakes as well. My big bugbear. Every website has a home page. Traditionally the home page is called index.html. That's the name it uses when it's sitting on the server. However, the name that the user expects to see in the link will be home. Now index.html will link to each of the units that you're going to be looking at. So in this case I'm going to be looking at e-commerce, web design, digital graphics and interactive media. The units that you'll be looking at may be different, but that's okay, just change the names. You can add more units, delete units, whatever it is that's applicable for your situation. Each of these web pages for a unit will contain your tracking sheet. It'll show you where you are in the unit so that you know exactly what grades you've got, and any potential employers or universities can see how things are going. Each of these units then has a web page for each criterion. So for example, e-commerce here will have a web page for P1, P2, P3 and so on, all the way up to D2. Now I've got them all as P1 to D2, but in practice there'll be different numbers of criteria for each of the different units. You just substitute what is relevant for you. And finally, a couple of words of warning. Each web page should link to index.html and to each of the unit overviews. Let me explain. Index.html here should link to e-commerce, web design, digital graphics and interactive media. But for example, interactive media here should link to the home page, should link to digital graphics, web design and e-commerce, and obviously it should link to each of the criteria pages for interactive media. That way you can be sure that when somebody's looking at interactive media, they're able to get at any of the other units or pieces of work that they need to without going via some convoluted route. Now each of the criteria pages here should obviously link to interactive media and to index.html, the home page. It should also link to each of the other criteria for this unit, but it's probably not a bad idea to have a standard set of menus that link to both interactive media, digital graphics, web design and e-commerce from P1. That will allow you to flit around, and it will also make life a lot easier for those doing the marking. So each criterion on a web page, P1 to D2, should link to all the other criteria for that unit as a minimum, and obviously to the unit overview. I hope this helps you get an idea of how you're going to structure your work. In the next video we're going to look at the detail. We're actually going to set up some work.